we speak about love and strength. We stand strong fighting against hate. There is one in our country whose task is just that, to ensure that love wins over hate, to guarantee that evil is silenced even as good is lifted. With gratitude for traveling to be with us, we invite the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, to share a few remarks.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Rabbi. It is a privilege for me to be here today, and it's an honor to stand as well as to pray with this community as we pay tribute and our last respects to the three remarkable people who were taken from us just a few short days ago. Terry Lamanno was a dedicated occupational therapist, a loving wife to her husband, Jim, with whom she would have shared her 25th anniversary on Tuesday, and a wonderful mother to their three children. She was also a devoted daughter who traveled every Sunday to visit her mother at Village Shalom. William Lewis Corcoran was a highly respected physician who moved to Johnson County from Oklahoma to be closer to his grandchildren. He cherished his family, dedicated his life to others. And he planned to spend a portion of last Sunday bringing his talented grandson, Reet Griffin Underwood, a 14-year-old Eagle Scout with a beautiful voice and a passion for theater and debate, bring him to a singing competition. But on Sunday afternoon, as they and others went about their daily business, and as Kansas City's thriving Jewish population prepared for the festival of Passover, this community was targeted by a senseless and unspeakable act of violence. And Terry and William and Reet were taken from us far too suddenly and far too soon. In the midst of what ought to be a time of celebration, when Jewish families, often joined by relatives and friends of different faiths, come together to retell the story of the Exodus from Egypt, this community has instead been visited by terrible tragedy. In this celebratory Holy Week, when Christian families, often joined by relatives and families, come together to proclaim their faith, a pall has been cast over our great nation. And so we gather today, not in joy, but in solemn reflection and in remembrance of those whose lives have been cut too short. We mourn the untimely losses of Terry, William, and Reet, and all that their futures should have held. We grieve for the friends and family members who knew them best and who loved them most. And we pledge that we will support you as one community and as one nation, not only in sorrow, but in strength, united by tragedy, but bound together by unyielding resolve in the face of hate-fueled violence. Every alleged hate crime, no matter who the intended target, is an affront to who we are and who we always have been, both as a country and as a people. These acts cannot be ignored, and their impact is not limited to particular communities or to particular individuals. That's why today, although our hearts are truly broken, all Americans stand with the people of Overland Park, of Leawood, and of Kansas City. We are united in our condemnation of this heinous attack and in our commitment to see that justice is served. We are inspired by the resilience of this community, the strength of those who lost loved ones, and the stories of heroism that emerged from Sunday's tragic events, from the passers-by and staff members who helped warn others about the danger, to the brave law enforcement officials who raced to apprehend the suspect and prevented this horrific incident from becoming even even more deadly. In these acts of valor and selflessness are written the true story of what happened here. A story of light emerging from terrible darkness, a community rising above senseless violence, and a diverse group of people accepting the responsibility that all of us share to respond to intolerance and anti-Semitism, not by pushing one another away, but by drawing each other closer. The Jewish religion speaks of a concept called tikkun olam, which means repairing the world. These words may be unfamiliar to some, but the idea is universal to people of every faith, that it is incumbent upon each of us to bring hope and help to those around us, to create a more loving society, and to help forge a more just existence. Now, at times, particularly on days like this one, when we stand in the shadow of such mindless destruction, I know it can seem as though the world is irreparably broken, that it is fractured beyond repair. But all of us, here in this moment, surrounded by the people we love and held in the hearts of innumerable others, we are a testament to the limitless desire in this country for healing, for compassion, and ultimately for peace. And we affirm and reaffirm the spirit of fellowship that has always held this nation of immigrants together and defined diversity as our single greatest strength. A few days ago, many of you observed the beginning of Passover, marking the start of a long and difficult journey from tyranny and persecution toward freedom in the Promised Land. Today, this community begins its own journey of healing. And though the road ahead will not always be easy, I promise you that I and millions of others throughout our nation will be here to walk alongside you, not only today, but always. We will never stop fighting for justice nor ensuring accountability. And we will never forget the names or the stories of those that we lost. Terry, William, and Reet will live on in our hearts and in the cherished memories of all who knew them. They will live on in their children, their friends, and countless others whose lives they touched. And they will live on in the work that we begin here, today, right now, to repair the world and forge a future that is worthy of their joy, their passion, and their love. This new world will be their legacy, and we will build it together. Thank you once again for allowing me to be here. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.
My name is Adam Hamilton. I'm the senior pastor at the United Methodist Church of the Resurrection, and I have the privilege of being Bill and Melinda's pastor, Dr. William Corcoran and his wife Melinda. I have the privilege of being Mindy and Lynn and Lucas and Reed's pastor, and I am here representing them. They expressed great appreciation for you and for your prayers and your care and your love for them. They have been, as you've seen, very courageous in speaking, especially Mindy, the woman who lost both her father and her son, and wanted to be here, but this was one place where she said, it's too soon for me to come back. She came here and found her son and her father, and said, I just don't think I'm ready. I can't do that just yet. But I want you to express to them how much I appreciate the love that was shown to our family by the Jewish Community, by the Jewish Community Center, and how much we appreciate the prayers and the concerns of the people. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating their lives at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Church of the Resurrection. And if you've watched, and I'm suspecting most of you have watched Mindy as she's spoken, some have asked me, is she really that way at home? And I've been in their home on multiple occasions this week. And the courage that you have seen is what you see behind the scenes as well as in front of the cameras. And there are three things that have sustained this family as I've watched them. And they were active members of our congregation. They This was true before this time, but certainly in the midst of this tragedy. And the first was a deep faith that says that what's happening today is not the end of our story. Mindy has described her absolute certainty that her father and her son are safe in God's arms. And she said that can't take away the pain, but it certainly makes it bearable for me to imagine my dad and my son together in a place where there's no more sorrow and no more tears, no more grief and no more pain. They also have felt the prayers of a whole community of people, not just Church of the Resurrection, not just the Jewish community, not just the Kansas City area, but the entire country who've been praying for them. At Church of the Resurrection, we talk about those people who come alongside us when life is so hard. We call them stretcher bearers. And stretcher bearers are the people who bear you up when you can't walk anymore. And she said, I find that strength from the people around me. And of course, every time I've been to their home, the house is crowded with people who are just there to say, we love you and we're standing with you. And the notes and the phone calls and the emails and so much that it's impossible to even respond to, but they wanted you to know how deeply they appreciate that. And then you've heard Mindy express what the entire family feels, and that is that we want something good to come from this. That this evil can't have the final word in this situation. And we want something good to come from it. And so they're working towards that. And you may know that there were other children who will benefit from Reet's tissues that were able to be donated. That was the start. That was the first place. And Reet, even when he got his learner's permit on his driver's license, had signed the back of it saying, I want this to happen if something happens to me. But it goes well beyond that. It goes to the way that we live in response to this. We face something horrible as a community. And they face something horrible, the most unimaginable kind of pain, but are desperate to see that something good comes from that, and that starts with us and how we respond and how we live out our faith in response to this, and how we overcome evil with good. I was reminded as I was driving here to this event of a passage of Scripture in Zechariah, in which the exiles had come back from Babylon. The Jewish people had come back from Babylon, and yet life was so very hard when they came back. And Zechariah addresses the Jewish people in his day as prisoners of hope. And when I look at Mindy and her family, that's what I see. People who are prisoners of hope. And it's in that posture as human beings that we overcome evil with good, with hope and with determination that evil and those who spread hatred will not have the final word. And so on behalf of the family, I want to say thank you for your care, your love for them, the fact that you've shown up here in support of the Jewish community, in support of Terry's family, and in support of Mindy and Lucas and Lynn and Will and Tony and Melinda. Thank you for your prayers for them.
Hello, I'm Father Charles Rowe, and on behalf of our parish of St. Peter, where Terry Lamano was a member, I wish to express our profound gratitude to all who have offered prayers and condolences during this moment of tremendous sorrow. We are especially grateful to the Jewish Community Center for hosting this event. We extend our condolences to the Corcoran and Underwood families who have been struck by this cruel tragedy, and to their family of faith at the Church of the Resurrection. We also offer our compassion and support to our Jewish brothers and sisters who were the intended targets of this insane act of violence. In this moment of profound grief, it seems good to draw from our common spiritual heritage and pray the words of the 130th Psalm. Out of the depths I call to you, Lord. Lord, hear my cry. May your ears be attentive to my cry for mercy. I wait for the Lord. My soul waits, and I hope for his word. My soul looks for the Lord, more than sentinels for daybreak. More than sentinels for daybreak, let Israel hope in the Lord. For with the Lord is mercy, with him is plenteous redemption. Amen.